So once again, I would like to say a very big thank you to everyone who has been able to make it for today's section. And today's section is going to be very, very powerful because personally, I've always been silently following Mr. Rudolph Mensah, and I've been a great admirer. I've been reading your write-ups. I'm yet to get the hard copies for your book, and I would say that you really inspire me, and you've been one of the biggest pace setter for some of us who are on the journey of writing, and it's a very, very big privilege for me to host you today, and I believe that there's a lot that we can learn from you. So once again, I would like to say good evening to everyone and those watching us on Facebook. I would say Leaders of Change, for the past 2 months, we've been running this leadership series where we feel that there's always a gap between with the youth and those who are already doing something or who are actually getting results for what they are doing. So then how do we bridge this gap? So we can only bridge this gap through, cross learning and sharing of knowledge. And I deeply feel that information is very, very important and powerful, and it can lead to transformation. So for this reason, we've been hosting every weekend one section that will help us learn on one competence of leadership. And today I'm very, very honored to actually have you talk about patience, which I know most of us don't have, including myself. I'm sometimes very, very impatient. So I think there's a lot to learn, and I would like to say once again thank you. But then before we proceed, I would want to introduce our speaker for tonight, since most of us are waiting to know who Mr. Rudolph is. So Mr. Rudolph, your profile is very, very heavy, simple but heavy. So I have to.
Let's keep it.
No, 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 no.
Let's keep it short.
Oh, no, 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 no. I have to introduce. Hey, big man, we don't do that. So basically, so with the introduction, so about our speaker tonight. So Mr. Rudolph Mensah is a young, dynamic speaker and a lover of God. So Rudolph is devoted to helping people find meaning in their lives and become what they dream of. Is an Amazon best-selling author of 6 books. He continues to share insight and inspiration with thousands and speak to several hundreds of audience. One of the central principles in his life is that we can all do more than we think we could. You need to define your life purpose, dedicate and commit yourself to it through hard work and discipline. And then we shall win. It may not be immediately, but definitely. He believes writing is a way of immortalizing our ideas and sharing our message with the world. His interest is in literature, and it has led him to begin the journey as an author writing for a global audience. So, my dear participant and also those who are watching us on Facebook, please, we are going to hand over the forum or the platform to our big boss, Mr. Rudolph, to kindly take us through today's section. So, Mr. Rudolph, thank you once again. The floor is yours.
Wow, thank you so much for the flamboyant and warm introduction. But I'm also happy to be. Actually, this is my first Zoom meeting. I've seen people, I've had some people invite me for Zoom meetings, and I've turned them down, but I haven't used it before. And just today, the host made me download Zoom, and I just had to figure out how to use it. And so I'm excited to do this for the first time, and I'm hoping that we are going to have some fun and learn as well. And so I chose the topic we are talking about today because it's something I've been working on for the past 3 years, and it's quite an interesting one because it came as an idea that I was working on with talking about with my mentor when we started talking about our generation and technology and how, because there is the speed of getting things done, we think that everything can be achieved at a snap of a finger. And so we just came to the point where we're talking about how that has affected our sense of being patient and waiting for things to happen, and juxtaposing that with whether you are effective or whether you are fast. And I spent the last 3 years working on it because I felt that the book isn't ready to come out yet. And one of the things that it taught me writing about patience was patience. I really wanted to release that book in 2018 after I released my last book. And that was the last time I released a book. And I've been working on this because I still feel like it is teaching me how to be patient. And myself personally, I'm learning from it. And so I'm going to share with you just a few things I've learned writing this book and then practicing it in my own life, and how you can also apply it in yours. The title of the message is, of the chapter I'm talking about is Patience, Who Has Time for That? It's quite a bit of an irony listening to talking about patience and not having time for this. I was actually reading a short book where they say that a woman went to the chapel to pray to God for patience, and then he said, "Please God, give me patience. I need it now." And so that's how or where we are now as young people. We actually see people doing things like, you see your friends driving cars, getting married, becoming successful, writing books, maybe like achieving one success after the other, and they seem to be posting pictures, and all of a sudden you feel like your life is in a mess. If you compare with what your friends are doing, with what is going on in their life, graduating, getting a master's, getting a PhD, traveling abroad, and we start comparing ourselves with them, and we feel like we are either behind or not doing much. And so the first thing I'm going to say is this: we have to get to the point where we marry patience with speed. And I'll explain that just before we finish. The patience I'm talking about here, let me quickly differentiate that with laziness before I even begin with the lessons. Number one, when I talk about patience, I'm talking about the understanding that whatever you are working on or whatever you are doing, whether it is a goal of yours, a business, whether you are in school or an idea or a book, a story, you want to be a musician, whatever your dream is, it is not going to happen overnight. It is going to happen over time. And that is the first thing I want you to note down. Those of us watching on live on Facebook or on joining us on Zoom, you have to get this straight in your mind, in your mindset, that whatever dream you have, whatever vision you have working on, it is not going to happen overnight. It is going to happen over time. When you develop that mindset, you are not going to lose your cool or lose your patience when things start delaying or when it takes time to get what you want. But because we feel like things have to happen quickly, we get upset or we get frustrated when it doesn't come by quickly. When the relationship doesn't go well, when the business doesn't succeed on time, when you don't get what you want, you get frustrated because you feel like things have to happen immediately. But that's not how things work. Nature follows through a process. Nature loves process, and everything you will achieve in your life would require you to be patient. And so if you don't grasp that concept from the very beginning, that whatever you are working on, whatever you are chasing, whatever you are dreaming, or every vision you are going after, is going to take you time. You get frustrated when there are delays on the road, when there are obstacles to overcome on the way, and that is where the frustration sets in. And writing this book, I did a research and I found that there was a study from the University of Arizona in 2009 where about 30,000 emergency calls were analyzed. And they found out that after 2 minutes, 52% of the people who called dropped their call and said they were looking to do something else or find a solution elsewhere. Let's take for example, somebody calls a customer care service, whether any of these telecom companies or a business, or even a 911 call looking for help with an emergency. In 2 minutes, when they don't get the help they need, they drop the call and try to find a solution somewhere else. I have been in cafes when I was growing up where people visibly bang the keyboard because it is taking a bit of maybe a minute for a video to load. We are losing our patience waiting for things to happen because of one single reason. Because of technology, you don't have to wait in line for anything to come to our doorsteps. We order things on Amazon Prime. It takes 2 days to be delivered to our doors. We order stuff online from companies like Jumia and stuff. We don't have to even wait or go to the market to get things. We have delivery companies bringing things to us. And so with the speed of technology and how things are changing very fast, we think that we can bring that to building a life of success. But nature still follows process. You can't microwave your life. You can't cook success in 3 minutes. It is not instant noodles. It will take time for you to do anything worthwhile. And there was nothing, I repeat, there was nothing worthwhile or nothing productive, nothing important that you're ever going to achieve in your life. What is going to happen overnight? It is going to take you time. I usually say that overnight success takes about 10 to 15 years. And that is my estimation. The people you see at the top have spent 10 years, 15 years working on their goal. For instance, you find someone practicing the piano for years. Nobody knows about the person. Nobody even heard his name. And then one day, someone like Ed Sheeran comes on board and releases an album. And then all of a sudden we say, oh, Ed Sheeran is a great singer. He's lucky, he's making money, he's now a celebrity, he's popular. And that's all you know. But I can tell you that Ed Sheeran started playing his guitar on the streets of London, on the streets of the US, and around places where people were just giving him cents and $1 bill for singing on the streets. And when he was doing all those things, people were not aware of him. But we are aware of him now because he's on top. And so young people these days, and I'm very passionate about this topic. I have to slow down here and say this for you to listen to me. There was nothing ever worthwhile you are going to achieve in your life, what is going to happen overnight. Unless, of course, you stumble on a pot of gold. And I don't know how many people are going to stumble on a pot of gold, but you can't microwave your life. You can't just switch it on within 3 seconds, 5 seconds, and get it cooked. It will take you time to cook because nature loves process. And I'm not saying, like I said, confuse laziness with patience. Most people do that. Or you ask him, oh, so what's up? What are you doing with, how far with the project? So I'm being patient. No, but they are doing nothing. Patience doesn't mean sitting down, folding your hands and just doing nothing. No. Being patient means you are putting in the work. You are working at it every day. Every day you are doing something small in the direction of the dream. But you are also aware that writing a book won't take you 1 month. Starting a business won't take you 1 year. Going back to school won't take you, whatever you want to do is going to require time and a persistence and a consistency to keep going, even when you want to stop. And this requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of discipline, and that is what we don't have. And this is what Warren Buffett once said, that there are things that require time. For instance, you can get a baby in 1 month by impregnating 9 women. It doesn't happen that way. So it doesn't matter how fast you want things to happen. You need to be patient. And if you are not patient with yourself, you might as well end up a patient. You are going to fall a victim to a lot of things. And we've seen it with our friends, the young people, especially people go into corrupt activities, fraud, sakawa, things like this, because we don't have the time to wait for things to happen in their time. We want to facilitate and we want to speed up the event because we also want to show our friends that we've arrived, we've made it. And so we want to take back doors and shortcuts. And there is nothing like that. Quick or get rich quick schemes are getting a lot of young people, especially because of this lack of impatience. And I'm saying that it is because of technology. But this is where I come in again. I'm not blaming technology for our lack of patience. It is only robbing us of the ability to learn patience. For instance, let's go back to 10, 20 years ago when there was things like waiting. When you were young, or when I was young, let me use myself as an example. When we had to wait for hours just to watch one program on Ghana television because that was the only station available, you learn how to be patient without complaining. But if we live in a time like this where there are numerous stations and with a remote you can change over 20 or 50 stations at a time, you lose the meaning of being patient. When there was only one taxi plying a particular road and you have to stand there and wait for it for an hour, and if you miss the bus, you can get it to the next hour. You learn what patience is. But if this is a time where you pick your phone and you can order an Uber or Bolt or whatever app you have on your phone for taxis, you begin to lose the essence of patience. There was a time that you have to cook, wait for an hour for the food to cook, but now you have to put it on fire for 3 minutes, and like I said, instant noodles, and everything happens at a snap of a finger. Because of the ease of life with technology, you're beginning to lose the whole essence of the traditional value of being patient in life. And that is where most of us get frustrated because things are not happening quickly or as we want. So my message for you today, if you miss anything I've said, or if you miss anything I will say in the few minutes to come before we go into the Q&A, I want you to remember this. I want you to remember this. You have a dream, you have a vision, you are pushing. You need to have that. So I'm not going to talk about that. If you're a young person, you need to have a vision of where you want to go, where you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And once you have that in your mind, you have that in your mind, that you have focused on that thing. I want you to understand this. That's one. It is not going to happen overnight. It is going to happen over time. And that requires you working daily, persistent with consistency to get there, and give yourself time. Allow yourself to be a beginner and learn and grow. Because all the people you see out there did not just rise and become overnight success. Lionel Messi once said it took him 17 years and 324 days to become an overnight success, because when he was playing on the streets of Rosario in Argentina, and when he came to Spain and was playing in La Masia, nobody knew him. Everybody now knows him as the best player in the world, and they think he's just making money, but he came from somewhere. And that is a part where we miss. We miss the behind the scenes, and we see the finished product, and all we want is the finished product, but we don't want the behind the scenes. So the second lesson I want to talk about is how do you then marry speed with patience? Because truth be told, the world in which we live is on a fast-paced road where even if you stand still, people are going to run you over. And so ideas also love speed. When you get an idea to start a business, you can't say, oh, I'm patient, so I'm planning. By the time you get ready to start, someone has already gone ahead with the idea and just doing something with it. What will make you work with speed and still be efficient is when you develop strategy. What do I mean by strategy? Strategy here is, for instance, I want to start, let's say, a shoe company. I don't have to start from the scratch, like designing my own shoes, producing my own shoe, cutting the fabric or whatever I need to make the shoe. There are tons and tons of people who have done this business, who have made tutorials on it and put it on YouTube, on other platforms on the internet. All I have to do is to find somebody who has done what I want to do, go online and learn from others who are doing what I want to do, and then learn from them. This way, I will shorten the learning curve and avoid the mistakes they made. That is how you develop strategy to reduce how much time you spend doing what you want to do. I've done a lot of things. I've hosted a podcast for 2 years, started a YouTube channel, written 6 books plus a few other short stories I've published. Some have won awards, some have been recognized at places for how much value is brought to people. I have currently an MPhil student. Like, I have done things that has taken me less time to do. Speed, because I learned from Solomon from the Bible when he started new under the sun. Whatever, if you want to get back to school, someone has done what you want to do, and all you have to do is learn from the persons. Go on YouTube. There are lots of things you can learn from YouTube. A month ago, I started learning how to code because I wanted to build my own app. So I just went online, went on YouTube, downloaded a video tutorial, 12-hour long tutorials for learning how to code with Python. And then I installed the app on my computer and I started. I'm self-teaching myself how to code and then build my app. So what I'm saying is that, number one, you have your dream, you are chasing it, work every day towards it. But I need you to understand that whatever you are following, whatever you are pursuing in your life, it is not going to happen overnight. It is going to happen over time. So you have to give yourself time. You have to be patient and not rush into things because you see other people succeeding. And I call that the shiny object syndrome. You're buying cars, you see your friend got married, you see your friend traveled abroad, so you also want to get in there. No. Stick to your goal, and it is going to take you time. But if you don't give up, you are going to get there. The second thing is that you can reduce how much time you spend working on your project by learning from other people's mistakes and shortening your curve. And that means that going on YouTube or attending seminars or webinars or video presentations like this to learn from people who have done what you want to do. I learn from a lot of people who are ahead of me, who are with me, also doing and I share knowledge all the time. That way, you don't have to waste your time making all your own mistakes. You are not going to live long enough, to make every mistake yourself. You don't have to do that. That to me is insanity. When you can learn from other people's mistakes and just shorten the learning curve. And that way you can just move ahead faster to your dreams. And so to wrap it up, the message I want you to take away from this presentation, we now more than ever, like Bill Gates said, what is a global village? And the internet is a town square. You don't need to be in India, in China, and US to know what's happening or what is booming there. With a click on the internet, you can learn from people all around the world. I have taken several courses online, gotten certificates from them, sat behind my computer and had a university degree from the US without being to a university in the US because of the internet, because of technology. And while this technology has given us a chance to learn and improve ourselves, it is also robbing us of the traditional art of patience. And that is what I'm talking about today. Don't think that because you can get things faster with technology, you can succeed faster or things can happen for you faster. Nature still trusts process. And in this book that I'm talking from, I use my time on the farm when we are planting maize and the process we go through when we sow to reap and talk about it. And I titled the book, When You Sow, You Don't Reap Immediately. Because most people think that once you sow, you have to reap. But the day the day you sow the seed, it's not the day you eat the fruit. So you have to give yourself time to understand that you have to go through growing, weeding, pruning, fertilizing, irrigation. There are lots of things between the time you sow and the time you reap. And the in-between, the work you have to do in between is where young people lose themselves and get frustrated because it is not happening quickly. And so the first lesson I'm giving you here from my whole message is this: whatever dream you are chasing, whatever vision you are following or working towards, whatever business idea you are working on, it is not going to happen overnight. It is going to happen over time. Number two, there is nothing new under the sun. Don't be sitting around trying to try everything on your own because you want to figure it out, you have patience. No, you are going to sit there and things are going to pass you by because whatever you want to do, there's nothing you want to do that someone else hasn't done. Someone has been to space and back. Elon Musk is working on getting people to Mars, like people are building computers. Every business, every idea, whatever you want to do, even if you want to play football, there's somebody around you who has done what you want to do. All you have to do is go to that person, go online, read books, learn tutorials, and do things that will help you learn the lessons from these people. That will help you shorten the curve. And that way, you won't get to make your own mistake because you're not going to live long enough to make every mistake yourself. So the best way or the wisest way to learn is to learn from other people's mistakes and combine them with your own experience. In that way, you can develop the strategy to work with speed and avoid the mistakes other people made so you can get to your goal faster. I want to end it here so we can take some questions and maybe we can get into specific stuff. But I hope that you get some value from today's session. And what I want to put across is this: give yourself time. Give yourself time. You are doing well. You are on the road to your dream, your vision. Give yourself time. Don't beat yourself up. Stop looking at how other people are succeeding and how other people are driving cars, and so don't get drawn into the comparison paradigm. Somebody is wearing this, so you have to wear that. No, focus on your vision. Focus, separate those who succeed from those who don't succeed. Learn from other people. Be inspired by other people's success, but don't envy them. Don't get jealous. Don't fret yourself and worry yourself because of other people. You have your life. You have one life to live. Make it count. So I would take some questions here. Ernest, hello.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we are still live on Facebook. Hello, is there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother.
Yes. Yeah, so I think we can do the Q&A here. I think the questions will let me get into some specifics, but I've gotten the main message across to the now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Rudolph, for this wonderful presentation. And I think there are some questions that we would like to take from the participants. So please, you can raise your hands. And also, I could see some questions on Facebook, which I'll read out to you to kindly address to the audience. Thank you very much. Okay. So I think Mr. Prabash from India is asking, why are the youth impatient nowadays, where we need to see them solving problems? But I think the quest for answer is not waited for until we have something concrete. Could you please throw some light on this? I don't know if whether his question has come across very well.
Yeah.
So I think.
Kindly repeat.
Okay, so I think like in order, let me try and get into his mind. So I think what he's trying to say is that, you know, a lot of times people are impatient because they don't have something concrete to stand on. You get it? So because of that, they try to rush into things. So, and this is very, very, you know, common in today's world, and especially with us, the youth. So then how do we, you know, surmount this situation?
Okay, very good. So I would use myself as an example. I have some of my friends who have gotten into other ventures, like and I'm making a lot of money or succeeding. Like they've started businesses or started other ventures where they are succeeding. I have chosen the path of like writing, speaking, like working with people, creating content for online platforms. And I feel that is the way I want to leave my legacy or my impact. If I look at how my friends are making money in, let's say, network marketing, real estate, businesses, I might be tempted to think that I have to jump on that trail and get the kind of success they have because it looks flashy. So from what he's saying, it is because people don't have a definite goal or a definite purpose for their life. If you don't know where you are going, then you don't know like how and when to get there. It's because people haven't defined a goal for their life, because they don't have a vision, one particular thing they are chasing. All they are looking for is like what other people have. Or maybe you see a friend, my friend got married, so let me also get married. Why are you getting married? Or my friend bought a car, or my friend started a business. Do you want to start a business because you want to start a business to solve a particular problem? Or you want to start a business because entrepreneurship is cool and all your friends are becoming entrepreneurs? So these are the questions we don't ask. And so we get ourselves into ventures. And once we don't begin to see success immediately, we lose our vim, or sorry, we lose our desire or enthusiasm for what we started, and we give up. That is why I don't want to go like, let me just add this. That is why people even lose interest in relationships, business, because we start to do that. And so as a young person, you know, everyone immediately, some people, it takes them time to be able to make sure you stick with it to the end and join another thing because it looks to yourself time. Even if it's 5 years, thinking like what you are doing, what you started doing with leaders of change, you might be tempted to see other people doing other things and say, oh, let me stop this and go and join them. But you know what you are doing with this. And so it doesn't matter how hard things get, you are going to keep doing with it. And that is how young people should stick with their goals. And I believe that's why we are losing the patience, because we haven't defined a goal for our life. We don't have a destination in mind. So every road looks nice and we jump on and we jump on and lose ourselves along the way.
Thank you very much for the wonderful answer. Please, if you have any question on Facebook, you can kindly leave it in the comment section, and please, the participants on Zoom, you can please raise up your hands so that I invite you. Okay, but Mr. Rudolph, personally, I have a question, and it's something that I want to know I please want to know your opinion on this. So I want to know, in your view, do you think that the youth today, we rush into things because we lack mentorship, or it's just a mere fact that we don't want to learn or we don't want to be mentored?
Wow, that's a deep one. Okay, so I'll take you from two angles. So this is what I just mentioned in my previous answer. There is nothing that you want to do, or there's nothing where you aspire to be that someone else hasn't been there. The very first Sunday and the last Sunday in the month, I have a call with my mentor who I go through every idea with him, and he shows me like, this is good, this is not good. We talk about it back and forth. And that alone is the most important part of my life. Like, that's alone is the most important thing. Mentorship, that's what it's called. Sorry, it reduces the time you need to succeed. For example, if you have somebody who has started 5 businesses and the first 2 businesses failed and the other 3 succeeded, and you want to start a business, and you go to him and say, hey, I know you've been into business for 15 years. I want to start a business. I really need to learn from you. What did you do that didn't work? What did you do that worked? Or maybe you go to someone like Kwame Sefakai and you say, my name is Ernest. I really want to get into hosting a show which would resonate with people and change people's life. I want you to give me your best lessons from your 20, 30 years of being in journalism. How much value do you think you can learn from that? Like, that conversation with somebody in that position. And that is why young people don't get it. We think that old people don't get our time we live in because we are living in a technological era and everything is fast and new. And maybe your father or the person you who is doing what you want to do doesn't know how to use an app on iPhone, but that person knows a lot more than an app on phone. And so we don't have to be deceived to think that because we are living in an era, a technological era, we know everything. No, people have gone ahead of us who have more knowledge, more lessons. And if you read a book of Proverbs, it says that where there is counseling, multitude of ideas survive. Like, without counseling, your ideas won't work. You need somebody to show you, oh, this is what you have to do. Go here, pass here, you can do this, and you can succeed at this. So for me personally, I value mentorship. And I have mentors for different spheres of my life. I have spiritual mentors, I have business mentors, I have educational mentors. Like, you need people to show you what the way and how to do things. And I call it this way. When your head is in the game, you need some coaching because you can't think about everything. Imagine if you're on the field playing football. There's somebody has to stand at the touchline and say, next time don't run across the player, go this way, or come across this other way. Somebody has to stand there and show you that don't do this, do that. This thing you are doing well, you're on the path, but change it this way. Without that kind of direction or mentorship in your life, it is going to be very difficult to succeed. And then the second part of the question is this. I believe young people feel like we don't need mentorship in quotes because, like I said early on, we have everything we need. With a click, we think we can learn everything on the internet. Technology has made it available for us to do things faster than our predecessors, our elderly people. But that doesn't rob or take away the fact that old people have knowledge, have wisdom, have insights that we can still learn. And mentorship doesn't even have to come from old people. There can be peer-to-peer mentorship. There can be mentorship that comes from people we see from afar by reading their books, by listening to their messages, by just paying attention to what someone has done, learning from them, and making sure I learn from their mistakes. Just to wrap it up, someone like Solomon, who was, in quotes, the wisest man on earth, did everything he did, left some knowledge in the book of Proverbs and the Ecclesiastes. Then after everything he did, comes on to say that all is vanity. Or let's say having 1,000 women is vanity. I don't have to marry 1,000 women to come to the same conclusion. If I am wise, I have to take Solomon's advice because he's been there, he's done it, he's telling me how it is. And if you avoid this kind of lessons in life, you are going to spend your whole life making mistakes when you can, in fact, look at other people and learn. And they say there are three ways of learning wisdom, either through your own mistakes, watching other people's, or just by paying attention to what is happening around you. And the easiest way to learn and become wise is by learning from someone. So to me personally, mentorship is a key and important area of every young person if you have a dream or if you want to become a leader in any sphere of your life.
Thank you very, very much. This is very, very powerful. And I think there's a comment on Facebook by Prabhash. He was saying that I certainly have a feeling that the generation is changing with a mindset of solving a problem rather than understanding the problem, because success is seen as solving problem but not the process behind it. So he's saying thank you very much for your kind response. I think that's a great comment.
I love this. I love it.
Great comment.
Yeah, I love his comment.
And Mr. Kweku, please, you can kindly ask your question. Mr. Kweku, are you there?
I'm there.
Okay.
Mr. Rudolph, that has been a wonderful presentation in a way. My question was actually related to the mentorship that Ernest asked, because I think I raised my hand before the question went. But I would also want to ask, don't you think that the motivational speakers today are also the cause for the impatience of the teaming youth these days? Because when you listen to some of them, you tend to believe you are way behind the ladder. And it seems to mean you aren't making any progress. Because when you listen to some motivational speakers, sometimes if you're not careful, you might think you aren't really part of this life. Don't you think that has been a reason for this impatience on the side of the youth today?
Wonderful. This is one of the areas that I've had issues with people. And thank you so much for your question. And yes, I would answer yes, because personally, I had an issue when I started out with my speaking venture. So later I told people that I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm a motivational doer. And this is the reason why I said that, because we paint a pictures, like we paint a picture to make it seem like, one, if you're a young person and you like by 25 years, you haven't done that, you haven't done this, that means you are slow, you are lacking behind, you are not working hard enough, you are not motivated enough. But like I said, whatever you are working on it's not like it's going to happen quickly. And so because we tend to plug in and listen to all of these things, let me give you these statistics. There is over 1 billion like views of motivational videos on YouTube every day, every single day. Over 1 billion people like of watch time actually is watched on YouTube, because people like the idea of motivation. People like the idea of feeling all pumped up about doing something, but they don't actually take action. And that is a part where we don't talk about. We don't come on stage and say, I started a bakery business with one bread and one packaging like teaspoon or something, and you make people feel like, oh, that means all I have to do is go out and buy one bread and stuff. But life is not like that. It's not just cut and paste, like because somebody did this, you also do that and succeed. No, it is because of the way, and like I said, young people are looking for shortcuts, get rich quick scheme. So if you come out and give them these sugar-coated words or messages to get them all excited, they like following such people because they pump or like they massage their ego or the things that they want to hear. If you find somebody telling the truth, like me telling you right now that whatever you're working on is going to take you 10 years or 15 years, who will be happy to listen to me tell him that it's going to take him 10 years or 15 years to become successful? People don't want to hear that. They want to hear, if you commit to this thing and you just have to start within 1 year, you can get on top. That's how come people join a lot of, what do I call it? I don't want to call it the network like MLMs and other projects, because they are promised fancy cars, fancy trips abroad, and people forget that there is hard work before you get there. And so I like to expose you to the hard work you have to do. That is what you have to do personally. Understand that your goal in life, your dream in life will take you time. So be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. Don't rush, because life is like a process. You have to trust in the process and believe in your own journey. You are going to make it, but it's not going to happen right away. So I say this: if you don't stop, you are going to win. It may not be immediately, but definitely. So have it in mind that it's not going to take you 1 day, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, even 5 years. It's a go more than that. So yes, to answer your question, yes, 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 and yes again. Because of the way people like the message that we put out there, people are excited to hear motivational stuff. And so once we hear motivation, we are happy. But being motivated doesn't mean you wake up the next day and you have all the money you dreamed of. No, you have to get to work. And the working aspect is what we don't want to talk about.
Great. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And I think Mr. Ferdinand Senor Lawson, you have joined us online. We are so thankful. And he wrote a comment. He said, "There's a price to pay for success. No pain, no gain. And there's no shortcut to success." So
Wonderful.
there's another question here from George Agbanyo. He is asking, how can youth empower themselves instead of looking up to the big men? And I think, to add to what he's saying, I also have this sincere feeling that sometimes too, if you look at our setting, some of our leaders, they don't really, if they know something, they don't want to share it with us. I don't know, like, what kind of poor mindset is that. Like, they feel that everything should be a secret. So you could have someone who knows how to do certain things, but then when you approach such people to learn, they tend to hide those things from you. And it's very common. It's very, very common. And I've seen that myself before. So I think with what he's asking, how do we, address that as an individual?
Right. So it's the first part of the question is what I mentioned, peer-to-peer mentorship. Like what you are doing right now, you've set up a platform whereby you're inviting people like myself. I've seen you invite other people on your on this program where we talk about different things. We can do peer-to-peer mentorship. Like if you have a friend who is doing something that is like the person is working in a particular industry and they are doing well, you can learn from people you are at the same level. Sorry, it doesn't have to be always people who are above you. So for somebody like Mr. Ferdinand coming online now, I've followed him on Facebook for most of his books and messages that he put out there. And I have a lot of friends, including yourself, whose messages online or whose relation, like the contact I have with you, I've learned a lot from you just by being friends with you. So we have to build the network. So for now, I'm believing that after today's session, I'm going to get new contacts just because I was in this platform, which would enable me to learn more from other people to also learn from me. There's one thing in the book, Think and Grow Rich, where Napoleon Hill talks about the mastermind. And he says that the mastermind is where you have a group of like-minded people who come together once a week or twice a week to share ideas and motivate themselves to do more. So young people can start coming up together, forming a mastermind group where you learn from each other, you share ideas, and you remind yourself to do better. And that's for the first part. And then the second part is because of our culture, there are people who fear like when they teach you what they know, you are going to compete with them. But that is one of the, I don't want to use the word dumb, but that is one of the most ridiculous ideas I've ever heard in life. If you read a book, The Blue Ocean Strategy, where it talks about competition is for losers. In the world in which we live now, there is nothing to compete about. All you have to think about is collaboration. You see, like, let's say NX is building this platform to do this. I'm telling you that in the next 6 months or 1 year, this show could be likened to any of the shows online or like any of the shows you see or you admire up there. But if I come on a show, I am only leveraging my audience because the people who follow me are going to follow him. The people who follow him are going to follow me because we share the platform. You shouldn't think about, oh, I'm competing. There is nothing like competition in life. You have to find ways of collaborating with people. And so if you find somebody who is not willing to share their knowledge, move on to someone else who is open-minded to share his ideas, his knowledge with you. Because where we are now in life, we are not hiding any knowledge. Knowledge is abundant at a lot of places. You can go anywhere and find out what you want to find out. If you find somebody who feels like, oh, I'm not going to let you in on my secrets, I'm not going to share my platform with you. Okay, all right, let me find something else. So the first part of it is that form peer-to-peer groups, mastermind groups, find people like young people in your group in a setting and form a serious group where you share ideas, go together because you have to be going in the same direction. And then number two, make sure you collaborate with people and don't think about competing or don't look at people who feel like everything is a competition. Let me see who has more followers, who has more likes, who is selling more books, who is doing more well in business. No. Life right now is about collaboration. So think forming a mastermind group and think collaboration.
So powerful. Think forming a mastermind group, think collaboration. And I think Mr. Ferdinand is is bombarding us with so much on Facebook, which are very, very powerful. He's saying that motivation without discipline causes depression and frustration. And that's very, very powerful. That's very, very powerful. Mr. Ferdinand, we thank you so much. Okay, Bright, I can see your hands up, brother. Can you please throw your question? Thank you.
All right. Thanks to the speaker for how far he has come to. I also have some few issues, and I think people become impatient because of the price that you have to pay for being patient. The issue is some delays may cause people to be impatient. And I think dealing with the delay is what is needed to keep patients moving. So I want to also ask, in your opinion, what do you think we may do to deal with the delays in order to still move in line of patients?
Awesome. So I thank you very much for your question. I agree with you perfectly, and that's what I mentioned earlier on. Because of how long it takes for us to succeed, most people get frustrated. Give me a second. Thank you. Because of how long it takes for us to succeed, we get impatient. And so that's what I said. You have to come to the understanding, the mindset from the very beginning when you start working on whatever dream you have with that. It is not going to happen overnight. It is going to take you time. And so once I know that cooking beans takes me 30 minutes, I don't expect it to finish cooking in 3 minutes like an Indomie or instant noodles. So even if I see people eating their noodles, I don't get jealous, I don't fret, I don't become like, I also want my food to. If you know what you are doing, if you know you are building a skyscraper, if you know you are building a skyscraper, you don't get jealous when people finish painting their one room self-contained. You understand what I'm saying? Because you know that you have to spend time on the foundation. Yours will take you time. So you don't get looking at what other people are doing. And that is where we get, our problem is the comparison paradigm. So when we come to ourselves, let's say for instance, ourselves, sometimes we also delay ourselves unnecessarily. That's what I talked about, working with speed by developing strategy. So let's, for instance, you are starting a business, and the business you are starting, you know somebody who has been in that business. You have to find a way of leveraging, of learning from other people's mistakes to shorten how much time you spend making your own mistakes and learning. And that is a part where young people, like we were just talking about, don't get into. So yes, it is true that sometimes the delay on the road to become successful is what makes us impatient. And I'm not kidding. I'm not saying that patience is an easy thing. Waiting for something to happen is not easy. Like, it is not easy. Waiting is one of the hardest things you ever do in your life. Like, to wait for something. That is why it's very easy. We can't wait to get married we can't wait to get married. We can't wait to start something. We can't wait for the food to finish cooking. For you to wait is one of the hardest things you will ever do in your life. The only way to wait to the end for things to happen is when you know what you're waiting for. If you are aware that what you're waiting for is worth the wait, then it doesn't matter how hard it gets or how difficult it gets on the way. You are going to give yourself time. Be patient with yourself. So these are the two strategies I will give you. Number one, first, understand that whatever you are working on is going to happen over time and not overnight. So you don't have to be in a hurry for anything to happen. And then number two, make sure that you are not delaying because of your own repeated mistakes. You have to learn your mistake quickly and correct them. That way, they're going to reduce how much time you spend on the way to become successful. But the truth be told is, waiting is not easy. The weak cannot wait. The weak cannot wait. It takes only strong people to wait. And the story of the 10 virgins who are going to meet the bridegroom, when they had to wait, the 5 foolish virgins slept and the 5 wise virgins waited for the bridegroom to come. So what I'm saying is this: waiting will separate the foolish from the wise. To know somebody who is wise is to see somebody who has a fortitude to wait for something to happen. When everybody around him is seemingly succeeding, when other people are driving cars, doing their own things, and your life seems like you are lagging behind. But if you know what you are waiting for, if you know what you're fighting for, and you know you're on the path to that thing, you know you're on the narrow path, the straight and narrow way, and very few people find it because very few people have the discipline to wait. So I want to encourage you to be part of the few who find that narrow path and have the discipline to wait for success to happen. I would like to talk more on this with you. If we can get in a private conversation after the show, I'll be very happy to go in depth with you on some of the things you can do to reduce the time you spend waiting for things to happen.
And also, I think I also like what you said, like knowing what you are waiting for is very important. And also to look at it from another perspective too. The question too is then, what are you doing whilst waiting? That's also very important. Because a lot of time people just wait and they are not doing anything. So in your waiting, be preparing for what you want. And that is also one way of also getting ahead. And I think Mr. Ferdinand has posted a very powerful post. He's saying that how the youth can change and empower themselves. 1, self-discovery. 2, have a purpose for your life. 3, value yourself and use what you have. 4, be open-minded. 5, networking and collaborating with others. 6, never compare yourself with others. 7, be teachable and be ready to be corrected. 8, have mentors. 9, do as you can, not what you imagine. And 10, never procrastinate, just do it. 11, stay focused, but be patient. 12, to everything there's time. So we must be ready to know what you want in life and cultivate the habit to wait for your fruit. Stop looking for who is ahead of you and start looking within yourself. Make mistakes, but be ready to learn from mistakes. Oh, this is powerful. This is powerful.
These are wonderful steps. I hope all our audience would copy it and paste it in their room. Follow them. And I'm going to go on Facebook and copy it right after we are done myself. Paste it in my room.
Please, any more questions to ask our guests for tonight? Can kindly raise up your hand. I think Mr. Rudolph is getting tired now. Our participants, they like asking big questions. So they are all big men like you. So
yes. I've seen them.
Okay, I think for now there's no further question. So we would like to bring the session to an end. So Mr. Rudolph Mensah, I would like to say a very big thank you on behalf of the participants and also on behalf of Leaders of Change. And also to those who are watching us live on Facebook, I'm so grateful for your time. And this wouldn't have been possible without you. And all the participants who have been able to spend almost past an hour with us, we are so much grateful for your time. And Mr. Rudolph, today I've really learned a lot. I've written some notes down, and I think after the section out, we'll talk more about it. And most importantly, I'm so grateful for your time. And I hope to collaborate with you, just like what you said, in the future. Thank you so much.
I'm beginning. I really wish we can do this again.
Sure. Sure. So I think the participants are asking if whether they can get your email address so that maybe in case they want to reach out to you. So I think I will send it to them after the section through the registration link. I will send a personal email. I'll add your email, and also I'll add your link where they can get your books to buy on Amazon. And I think in as much as we are trying to use this platform, let's also support some of the works that our guests are doing, because, you know, I think the only way we can also get ahead is when we support each other, when we push each other, because you only rise by lifting others. So I want to say we should also get on Amazon and get his books and read, buy them, pay the price, because it's not easy to write a book. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you all for making this possible. So we call it a day. Bye-bye.